Afternoon, everybody. Thanks for being here. I know you got a lot to cover with a lot of things going on in Minnesota right now. Really proud of our football team on homecoming weekend, coming away with a victory. There's a lot of things that we'll probably talk about, but really proud of the resolve they continue to show right off the bat with the 7-0 Illinois right off the bat, and to be able, our football team to be able to respond to that, I thought was critical. And that's what they've been doing all year. They've been responding to all the adversity, whether it's success or adversity. They responded all year. So we've got a lot of things to clean up, a lot of things to get better at. Had a tremendous day of practice today. I thought this Tuesday was better than last Tuesday. I got a really good Nebraska team coming in here for a night game at TCF Bank Stadium. Really excited for that. And with that, we'll open up for questions.
PJ, with the weather forecast being what it is and having some troubles with drops last game, what are you doing to try to prepare for that?
We're doing a lot. We have ice buckets for our wide receivers, dipping their hands in there between every series or every time they go out there. We've got we have frozen footballs, we have wet footballs, we have all types of other things that we'll talk about after we get done playing, and some other psychological things that we're doing. We found out how cold our indoor can actually get down to, which has been good. We ruled out the snow machine, so that we didn't have that. And the big giant fans, we didn't have those either. So, but we have some other things we're doing to make sure we're doing everything we can to create that environment, because you walk outside today and it's maybe one of the nicest days the state of Minnesota's had in the 3 years I've been here. It's beautiful. What a fall day, right? But we're going from fall to winter really quickly, and then we'll go back to fall during next week, I'm sure. And then I'm sure by 2 weeks from now, everybody will still be on their boat for the final 85-degree day in late October, and then it'll be winter. So that's kind of how it works.
You mentioned after the game, too, you feel like, I don't know if a couple of drops, but a couple of times the receivers were trying to hit the home run instead of securing it. When you looked at it on film, was that the case?
Well, I think it's a mixture. I think Tanner learned a lot just about the type of environment that you're playing in. You're not going to let the circumstance ever dictate your behavior. However, there's a way to be smarter, right? So where the throws go, whether it's out in front and an extension, is going to be different when it's really pouring rain or going sideways or wind conditions. And some have to be body catches with the receivers and ball placement, plus being able to possess the ball and make it just moving the chains, because a drop is way worse than having us just move the chains. Doesn't have to, every play and every catch our wideouts have doesn't have to be 80. I'd like it to be, but there's certain things that dictate that might not be the case. And I think our wideouts are learning how to become a complete wide receiver, that when you can catch and go, you go. There's also times when we just need that first down to be able to keep the drive alive. We're running the football really well. We're going to throw it to get the first down, and we need those chains to just keep moving. So I thought quarterbacks learned a lesson. I thought wideouts learned a lesson, and they've responded really well today. I mean, they handled the very unique circumstances we threw at them in a very positive way.
So how cold did you get the thermostat?
It got down to about, it wasn't, I mean, I'm sure you'll evaluate how I couldn't get it down to the actual temperature, but it was in the upper 50s, and that's about as much as we can get it down there. So it's a pretty big facility, but we've tested the one side of how hot we can get it, and now we've tested how cold we can get it in a 48-hour period. So we feel we know exactly what our indoor can do, just like our players. You're just finding out what that thing can do.
PJ, a lot of people are talking about this team going 8-0 heading into that Penn State game. How are you going to, I mean, everybody's saying, how are you going to make sure your players don't start reading it and believing it?
We're not everybody, right? So everybody's going to be able to say what they want to say. We're focused on being better today than we were yesterday. And that is the coach speak, but I've said it for 7 years, so at least I'm consistent. We wanted to have a better Tuesday than we had a better Tuesday last week. This is a one-game championship season against Nebraska. All of our attention is going into Nebraska. That's the only thing we're focused on. Our players truly do that. Our four walls are the only thing that matters. What I'm excited about is our state, our community, the Twin City area are all talking about Gopher football. That's what I love. And I want them to keep talking about Gopher football. Talk all you want. Say what you want. Whatever it is, bring up conversations. But our players are talking about us, of what we have to do to get better. And that's how we're going to handle that. Because right now we're 0-0. Everybody from the outside looks at what we are. We are 0-0. And our players want to be 1-0. That's it.
PJ, how do you prepare defensively with the uncertainty of Nebraska having Martinez and Spielman dinged up a little bit, not knowing if they're going to be able to play? How do you prepare for that?
Well, one thing you got to give Coach Frost credit for is he recruits. You know, they've got plenty of people behind them, and you know you got a chance to see their backup play last week, and then you also saw McCaffrey come in as well. They're probably going to play both. I'm not sitting there putting words in Coach Frost's mouth, but I'm sure they're going to be able to play both. But they both can throw it. They both can run it. There's still weapons everywhere. Wan'Dale Robinson's turned out to be, I think everybody compares him to Rondale Moore of Nebraska, which I don't like to compare other people that I don't coach, but that's what, as Joe would say, everybody's saying, right? And that I can hear that. But he's very talented, very tough to tackle in space. I'm not sure if JD's playing or not, but he's a tough player, very, very talented, one of the best receivers in the Big Ten. Offensive line's all back. Their tight ends are very involved in their offense, even more than they were last year. I've got a transfer that can really make some plays on the outside. And the defense is going to be the biggest and strongest D-line we've played all year up to this point. We've got our work cut out for us up front. We know that. Their linebacking core is deep, and the secondary's been around for a while. That number 5 can play anywhere. He can play safety, play corner. He can move around. So we have to be at the top of our game. It doesn't matter who we face. We have to be the best version of us. But the game plan necessarily doesn't change because what Adrian does well, these other quarterbacks do a lot of the same thing.
PJ, your pace metrics have gone up every year at Minnesota. How much do you value in-game tempo in your offensive philosophy?
I was wondering when you'd ask me a statistical question based on numbers. You and Blaze Andrews are like, I mean, you guys are tied at the hip. We are going to take what the defense gives us, and every game plan is its own entity. You know, we have our own system. Everybody has their own system. But then you change it and tweak it throughout the entire week based on what the defenses are going to give you and what gives you an advantage. We have never done one thing that says, yeah, no, this is going to give us a disadvantage. We want to do this. You know, we want to always put ourselves in an advantageous position. And so we rely on pace at times to be able to get us back into a rhythm. But for the most part, I think you know how I like to coach. I like to see the time of possession on the Gopher side with a lot of first downs and a lot of big drives and running the football and having some guys on the outside making some big plays.
PJ, you mentioned after the game the other day that you were kind of kicking yourself over trying to ice the kicker. Do you have a philosophy on there? Is that a gut thing, or how do you?
Here's the thing. I'm going to be very honest with you. There's no coach speak here, okay? I've never called a timeout in the first half to ice a kicker. That's just against my philosophy. And I'm sitting there thinking about doing it. I'm like, you know what? I think I'm going to do it. And literally the only thing I could say is I just hadn't done it before, so I figured I'm going to do it. And I did it, and obviously he misses it, and everybody's celebrating. And at that moment, Joe, everybody in the state of Minnesota, I could feel every eye turn towards me, and I knew that. And then the ref on the side judge looks at me again. He goes, "You gonna do it again?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna do it again." Then I thought to myself, "Wait a second. If I call a timeout, I mean, the TCF Bank Stadium might come down after all the boos that we had after I called that timeout." So there's certain times I want to do it. The philosophy that I have set up perfectly for it, depending on where it was, just in terms of missing the first one and things that I have personal to me that I'd like to, based on our past experiences of why and when to do it. But I felt like it was the right call. I wouldn't have called it if it wasn't the right call. That's why I almost went against my own philosophy because I felt it was right. But the kid made a really good kick. So I told our defense they earned a shutout. I gave them a shutout. The 3 points is on me. The 14 points is on the offense. And the defense had a shutout. So I'm very honest with them. I tell them when I screw up because our job is to peel the onion back of their whole life of what they're not doing right and get them to do the right thing. So when the head coach doesn't make the right call, I'm going to make sure they understand that I screwed that up. That's my fault. But I don't think I would do it any different. The way I felt, it's not like I'm saying I would do it differently. I just went against a little bit of what I usually believe in. But that's when you have that gut feeling, and the gut happened to be wrong.
You called the defense, outstanding this last game. What specifically about their performance stood out to you?
I thought they swarmed to the football. The tackling was really good. Our spatial awareness was really good. I thought we kept the quarterback. Our rush lanes were better. Sometimes when you have a rush lanes, what I mean by that is if the quarterback's here and your rush lanes go all the way behind and that's where you go instead of retrace, the quarterback can have a lot more success, more running lanes. We had to condense the running lanes, and I thought we did a better job of that.
PJ, looked like Rashad kind of posted a picture of his hand. Looked like it was in a soft cast or whatever you expect to have him on Saturday.
Yeah, I saw that, and I called him right after that. He likes to post a lot of things. He's very active on social media for all the right reasons, which is good. He's fine. He did not have that on today. I think it's more, he likes shoes and he likes clothes, and I think it was a fashion thing for him. He had it on for one day, and I think he thought it was pretty cool. And so I'm sure there's people in Tift County, Georgia, wearing that today. So he is a trendsetter. So there's people down where he lives having that on, saying, "I got the Bateman thumb today," whatever it is.
PJ, with your
He had it on
offensive
for a reason, but it's off.
your offensive line just looked more physical Saturday. Blocking was.
Well, we're getting better. Chip, we're getting better. I think offensively, offensive line, we want that's what we keep talking about. Just keep getting better. Don't judge yourself. Just keep getting better, right? Let the judgment happen for Sunday film study, and when we actually say what we have to get better at for the next week. But do not judge yourself in between plays. There's still not a senior on that offensive line. I said that before. It's still a young group that's coming together. I thought they finished their blocks. I thought our technique was better. Just our first step, our hand placement at times, but there's so much more room to grow. That's what I love about the group. There's so much room to grow. But I thought the tight ends were the unsung heroes of the offense. I thought Ko Kieft and Jake Paulson really played their best game up to today, and I thought they deserved more credit than they got. And but again, I think our defense led the way with everything our defense was doing and giving our offense opportunities to get the ball back and put drives together and go score. And Coach Rossi deserves all that credit.
You've been having Sunday night scrimmages in your time here at Minnesota. Are there any guys that have been standing out to you this year that haven't been able to play on Saturdays yet?
Yeah, those are fun. I wish you could see those. No, but they're really fun. They are, because everybody gets into it. It is Sunday night football under the lights, and we did the red zone scrimmage this week, and it is awesome. I mean, I'm telling you, we give out this little trophy afterwards for the Sunday night, MVP, and I think at the linebacker position, I think DJ is coming on strong. Donald Willis is coming on strong. I think when you look at the defensive line, there's a plethora of guys. D'Angelo is going to be a special football player. His motor never stops, and his first step off the ball is scary, quick, and fast. D.V. Harris is coming along. Logan Richter, MJ, Rashad Cheney had a really great day today on scout team. Our scout team has gotten better. I think that's one of the biggest improvements we made. Switching gears for 1 second, our scout team is really good. And I think that's why we're getting better, is because our scout team is putting that challenge upon our ones. And it's not just, cupcake practice because you're going to somebody that you're really better than. These are guys that could play for us right now, but we're redshirting them and getting them those experience. I think Sal Brown in the secondary is doing a really good job. You've seen Cam. I don't think any of you have seen really Trey play, but those two are really coming along. Quarterbacks getting better. That's their time to be able to get in there and play. Jacob and Cole, and then the wide receivers. I think Eric Gibson, he's coming back from an elbow. Harry Van Dyne has gotten a lot better. Harry Van Dyne is going to be a staple in the offense as we keep moving forward. Michael Brown-Stevens is getting better. Nick Collerup, a tight end, he's getting his feet wet and doing a good job. J.J. Gaudet on the offensive line. Cooper, Nate Umler, the movement we had from D-line to tight end and now back to the offensive line is doing a really good job. I mean, I could name a lot of them, but I think as a whole, they're just getting better. It's so fun to be out there. And, we even see the people in the apartments, in the dorms over there. They're all sitting on their patio watching some games. And it's just a fun time for those guys. You get a lot of plays and play football. It's their game day. And I think they're getting better because you have to play to get better. So they're getting scrimmages. They're getting a game work. They're just getting it on Sunday instead of Saturday. So they're having that experience by the time we get to spring ball next year.
Did you do that at Western?
We did. Yep. I've always believed in Sunday night football. I think it's fun. And I think it's great for the varsity. We come out on Sundays and we'll do a little conditioning, and then we'll do some cleanups. We call them cleanups. So we'll take the 10 to 20 plays that we didn't perfect, that we do, that really are bread and butter. And then we'll have 10 plays of the opponent already, just based on the self-scout by the quality control coaches to kind of get us involved and get us going. That's really what we do in the beginning of the year. We'll do a lot of 7-on-7 green zone that we kind of don't get as much during the week early in the season, but then we shift to this as we go. And then we get a really good stretch and a rollout, and we call it team coffee for our varsity. And then the varsity goes over and watch, and then Joe Harris-Simiak calls the defense, and then Matt Simon calls the offense. And then this week we switched it up, and we had Tanner call the offense. And Thomas Barber called the defense, and then Zach Annexted called the offense, and Antoine Winfield Jr. called the defense. And it's funny to let them do that because Tanner comes over to us afterwards. He's like, that's way harder than you think. I'm like, yeah, well, go tell Kirk that. You know what I mean? But I think it's really good for them to have that experience where all of a sudden they don't have time to think. It's just, Tanner, you're calling it. Thomas, you're calling it. Play clock's running. And now they have to think like a coach. And I think it's really important for their development to do those things. And everybody's involved. I mean, we'd have sideline warnings left and right if we had officials on that field because there are people storming the field. You'd think, Cal Stanford every single Sunday. It's unbelievable.
You got one or two more for Coach?
What are some of the challenges associated with Nebraska's defensive line?
They're big, they're strong, they're active. They do a lot of different things up front, which constantly keep you on your toes. You got to prepare for a lot against them. Every look that you're going to have, you've got to prepare your quarterback and the offensive line and tight ends and running backs for multiple looks. They make it very difficult on you.
Last year when you took Sam Schluter out of the lineup, you said that you saw him coming back in at some point. Now that he's back in, what gave you the confidence to say that at the time, and what have you seen out of him this year?
He's grown up and matured. When doing what you have to do becomes doing what you want to do. I always tell our players here, nobody has to be here. Nobody does. There's not coaches, there's not operations, there's not managers, equipment managers, football players. Nobody has to be here. It's a choice, right? And it's a privilege to play and coach at the University of Minnesota. And I think he has truly matured in that way, where truly what he has to do, and I'm got to go to school, got to get my scholarship, playing football. He loves it. He loves it. And it's what he wants to do now. And he's really good at it. He's been the offensive line player of the week 4 straight weeks. And this is a guy that needed some time off for a while a few years back and was going through some really tough times. And it's fun to watch guys like that go through that. That's why you coach. And I say that every week. There's so many stories each week that I wish I could share with all of you that say why this staff coaches, why we coach, why I'm a head coach. And Sam Schluter would be one of those. And he's got to do the work. He's got to put in the effort. Nothing's going to be given to you. You have to earn everything. But he's really come along as a really good football player and, just a tremendous teammate and a professional. He comes into practice ready to go every single day, and that spreads all across the offensive line. Appreciate it. Row the boat. Sky Ma, go Gophers. Thank you.